The Amazon is the world's biggest tropical rainforest. It covers more than 2 million square miles of South America. For context, that's about the same size as the continental US or even slightly larger than India. Yet despite its gargantuan size, most of us know very little about it. So let's explore the Amazon in today's geography. Or alternatively, you could take the whole of Europe and fit 1.89 of it into the Amazon. We still don't know exactly how much of the forest's biodiversity we haven't discovered yet, nor do we fully understand the role that it plays in our planet's climate system. On average, the temperature ranges from about 72 degrees Fahrenheit to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. There are 4 seasons in the Amazon, but they aren't really the same as what we experience here in the northern hemisphere. Instead of spring, summer, fall, and winter, the seasons in the Amazon are defined by how much rainfall the region receives, resulting in the following: very wet, slightly less wet, very dry, and slightly less dry. The piranha gets a lot of press, but did you know that there are actually hundreds of different types of catfish in the Amazon River? Well, the answer lies in the roots of the matter, pun intended. Contrary to popular belief, it's actually only about 55 million years old. By comparison, the ancient Gondwanan rainforest, which once covered the supercontinent of Gondwana in what is today South America, Africa, and Antarctica, was thought to have formed around 110 million years ago and lasted for 40 million years until the breakup of Gondwana and the formation of new continents caused its demise. Between deforestation, drought, and the effects of climate change, the Amazon may not be around forever. With the launch of Nebula, CuriosityStream is now offering non-fiction fans like you and me high-quality documentaries and series exclusively on their new streaming service. If you've ever wanted to learn more about the inner workings of YouTube, the business of streaming, documentary filmmaking, or just want access to exclusive content that traditional streaming services don't offer, then you'll love Nebula. If we continue on our current trajectory, scientists predict that the Amazon will lose about 25% of its trees by the end of the century. Plus, with a subscription, you can watch amazing original series like Down the Rabbit Hole, which takes a deep dive into the bizarre world of conspiracy theories. I'm pretty fascinated by it myself, or Real Engineering, which deconstructs all of your favorite tech from Roomba vacuums to smartphones to hoverboards. At that point, instead of being the world's biggest tropical rainforest, the Amazon will become a savanna, drastically changing the local and global climate. Amazonian trees have buttressing roots that grow above ground in order to stabilize themselves. A genus of beech trees that still grows today in the southern hemisphere and is believed to have descended directly from the plants that grew in the ancient Gondwanan rainforest. In addition, many scientists believe that there were at least 3 major periods of rainforest development in the tropics, with each period beginning after a mass extinction event. And by signing up at the link below, you'll get access to both CuriosityStream and Nebula for less than $15 per year. That's less than the price of a cup of coffee every month, so please consider signing up today. It helps support my channel and all of your favorite educational creators while giving us the freedom to explore new ideas that might not otherwise be possible. The first tropical rainforests began forming around 145 million years ago, but they disappeared during the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. Then the second wave of tropical rainforests began forming 66 million years ago after the aforementioned extinction event, and they too eventually disappeared during the Quaternary extinction event that we are currently in. Luckily, the Amazon rainforest is thought to be in the midst of a third period of tropical rainforest development that began around 11,500 years ago after the last ice age ended. They're especially important for tall trees that need extra support. In addition, these buttresses help provide habitat for all sorts of animals as they can provide shelter, food, and places to climb. In addition, around 100,000 specimens of mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians have been recorded living within the basin. But perhaps the Amazon's most famous residents are its trees. According to one estimate, there are upwards of 400 billion mature trees in the Amazon. That works out to be about 1/5 of all trees on Earth. But the sheer number of trees isn't the impressive thing. What is impressive is their sheer size. The tallest tree in the Amazon, a Brazilian mahogany, stands 325 feet tall. To put that into perspective, the Statue of Liberty, if placed at the base of this tree, would disappear somewhere around its 26th layer. And if you're wondering just how wet we're talking, in terms of rainfall, the Amazon receives about 80 inches of rain every single year. Now keep in mind, that number is an average. Some parts of the Amazon can get twice that amount of rain, while other sections receive half of that. Of course, there are areas within the Amazon that are quite dry, like the southern pantanal region of Bolivia and Brazil, which is actually the world's largest tropical wetland. There are also large areas of savanna and grassland found throughout the Amazon basin, such as the llanos of Venezuela, the Campos rupestres of Brazil. You see, the Amazon River is the lifeblood of the entire rainforest. And when the tides are low, you can actually see these low salinity waters form brackish pools along the coastline. The energy generated by the volume of fresh water pouring into the ocean from the Amazon River is so great that it is strong enough to alter the dynamics of the Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current that carries heat from the tropics towards Europe, helping to moderate its climate. Its name derives from the ancient Greek word for unburnt, referring to the mythical Amazon warriors who lived in the area. And the river itself is the world's largest by volume. Every year, the Amazon dumps about 20% of the world's fresh water into the Atlantic Ocean. This water comes from not only rain, but also from several of the world's biggest rivers, including the Madeira, Negro, Purus, Tapajos, and Xingu, all of which converge with the Amazon proper in Brazil. These tributaries drain an area roughly the size of the U.S. and transport sediment, organic matter, water, and nutrients throughout the basin. And the vast Campos and chapadas found throughout the Cerrado region of Brazil, the latter two of which are not technically part of the Amazon, but are considered part of the Amazon River basin. Now, before we dive into the Amazon itself, we have to talk about where it's located because it spans across multiple countries. In total, the Amazon cuts across about 60% of the entire continent of South America and thus unites these 9 countries in a way unlike any other geographic feature. If we were to measure the length of the Amazon from east to west, it would come out to be just over 3,000 miles. That's longer than the entire eastern seaboard of the U.S. from Maine all the way down to Florida. Or, if we were to measure the width of the Amazon at its widest point, it comes out to be about 350 miles wide. And at this point, I think you can see why it's so hard to explore an area this big. So let's pull out our trusty globe here. Here we go. The Amazon rainforest is located in northern South America and stretches from Venezuela down through Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Brazil. The world's largest country by area, and finally the tiniest country in South America except for obviously the island nations that would be Uruguay. Now all of these countries combined together make up what we call the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization, or more simply put, the Amazon 9. For some additional context, if you were to take the entirety of the continental United States and stretch it out horizontally, you could fit 1 point for 7 of them into the Amazon rainforest. With all of this in mind, it's no wonder that only about 5% of the Amazon has been explored. Speaking of climate, it's warm in the Amazon. But speaking of the Amazon River, I haven't really talked about it at all yet, so let's fix that now. In fact, the Amazon River transports so much fresh water into the ocean that it actually reduces the salinity of seawater by nearly 1% near the coast of Brazil. The river itself is home to tens of thousands of species of fish. You may be wondering how such large trees are able to remain upright given the rather, well, soft ground that they're growing in. But perhaps the most surprising fact about the Amazon rainforest is that it is not actually the world's oldest rainforest. Now, the Gondwanan rainforest is gone, but its legacy lives on in the Nopophagus now, while the future of the Amazon is uncertain. One thing is for sure, it's under threat. And you know what else is drastically changing? The landscape of online learning. I personally have a studio on Nebula where I post a variety of bonus content, including a weekly podcast I do with my editor, as well as a series where I respond to viewer mail. It's all available on Nebula, CuriosityStream's new streaming service built for non-fiction entertainment.